Hey everybody, welcome back to the Senators Roundtable. I'm your host Jacob Billington, joined by Paul and Dayton as usual. How's it going, guys?
Great. Um, Halloween, I'm slowly overdosing on excess candy that didn't get handed out, so it's can't get better than that.
Did either of you dress up today?
Uh, as like the bare minimum that I could do, I threw on a hockey jersey. That's all I got.
That's what I did as well. I threw on a hockey jersey and when I was at the Senators game last year, when I drove up for that, I got a one of the foam helmet hats thing that about 2 feet tall that sit on top of your head and it's the full logo, but it's a hat. So wore that for my costume and everybody loved it, so I did good enough, even though I just opened my closet and said, "What do I got?"
Perfect.
Um,
The staff at our school we're gonna do like a cowboy theme because we're in the prairies, of course.
Sure.
Um, and all of my cowboy stuff is still at my parents' place. So I threw on a plaid and a student said they were gonna bring me a hat. Didn't work out. I had the jersey as backup. It all
you
worked
can
out.
never trust them, can you?
Not really, no.
I yeah, it's Halloween's a very fun time. I like seeing all the costumes and everything.
Hmm.
The U15 AAA team here, they went out as they all dressed up as bananas and went to so the head coach of that team is John Sim, former NHL player. And so they all went to his house, knocked on his door as a bunch of bananas, and then one of them was dressed up as a monkey. Yeah, pretty fun.
That's excellent.
Yeah. But let's get into it. So usually at this time, Halloween time, things are pretty scary for the Senators. They're usually not doing good at this point in the season. That was a good transition. I'm proud of myself for that. um, things aren't going as bad this year. There's been some ups and some downs through their first 9 games, but coming off of a dominant win against the St. Louis Blues, Tim Stutzle with 4 points, Brady Tkachuk with 2 goals, Adam Gaudette has 4 goals already, two goal performances. Um, things seem to be going all right. Where's your confidence level with this team, especially after that 8-1 win? We'll start with you, Paul.
Well, it's interesting you brought up Jacob where they are now. This year, they're 5-4 after 9 games, and that puts them at a 555 points percentage, further ahead than they were last year. I looked at their goal differential. That's a +7, and you know what? That's second in the Atlantic Division behind the Tampa Bay Lightning. 13 teams league-wide have a positive goal differential, and the Senators are one of them. So they're in the top half. And what do I read into that? Well, we're seeing the Senators starting to realize the goal scoring potential that everybody thought they've had for the last couple of years, but we didn't see.
Hmm.
So they're in terms of goals for, they're actually fifth in the league. That's impressive. The only thing that concerns me is take a look at their goals against, where they sit 12th in the league. So, in my mind, that raises the question, back to the debate, is it goaltending or is it the defense? And I throw that open to you guys to discuss. I know Dayton, when Julian McKenzie and I were hammering the Senators last week on weak goaltending, Dayton had the courage to stand up and say it's not goaltending, it's the defense. So I don't know how you feel about it this week.
Uh, about the same. I
Yeah,
think there's a lot of those same defensive responsibilities and problems that were present last year. They're
yeah,
better this year. But I think, like I mentioned last week, the Senators now have a goalie that they can lean on a little bit, and that's
sure.
going to cover up some mistakes. Linus Ullmark can bail them out of things, so that's nice. The Senators haven't had that in a while. But yeah, it's a good start. Confidence level, I think cautiously optimistic. Things are good. Things could get better, I'm glad they're not worse.
I still feel like, and obviously, Linus Ullmark is going to change some things here, but Ottawa is still 27th in the league in save percentage.
Yeah.
I mean, like some performances from Anton Forsberg and Matt Sogard really hurt that. Um, but Linus Ullmark has also had a few stinkers already against Montreal, and a lot of those goals against Montreal weren't necessarily his fault or anything, but still team save percentage is an 896, so needs to be a bit better than that. We just recorded an episode of the Hockey Writers Roundtable, and Matthew and I were talking about PDO a little bit with the Vancouver Canucks and how it's mostly a luck-based stat, shooting percentage plus save percentage, but it's also really important. And the Senators are 24th in the league at 98.38. Not great. You want to see that go a little bit better, especially considering what their shooting percentage is. They have been scoring a lot of goals, and a lot of power play goals as well. So that'll actually just lead into the next conversation. The power play has been um, ridiculously good, and we've seen that before. That's not a new thing. So do you think that their power play percentage is even remotely sustainable? I mean, they're running at 42.9% right now, which is second in the league. That's not sustainable. But do you think that they can stick in with the top three, top five in the league with power play percentage, Dayton?
Ooh, I don't know. I think it is maybe a little bit high right now. I'm not sure why. Um,
Well,
it
it's very high right now. The Oilers just set
yes,
a record with 30% over the season, so it's very, very high.
yes. It very high, but like higher than it should be, you know? Um, I think there is it's a little bloated. It's not going to stay at that level. It's going to come down. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's good. I'm happy for it. It's just not going to stay that way. It can't.
Yeah, they
Well,
they have 12 power play goals in 9 games. Like that's a lot, but it's good.
Hmm.
well, I'll tell you why they're up there, and it's because of Tkachuk. He's tied for the lead in the NHL in terms of power play goals. So he's just exploded. If he can keep that up, and Stutzle and some of the others can follow his lead, they may have solved at least half of their special teams problem. The other is a penalty kill, but the power play, I think they may have solved it.
And he's tied with two of the most notorious goal scorers in the NHL for that lead, Nico Hischier and Ross Colton.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. But no, the Senators are kind of cooking right now. They have a lot of good things going right, for their offense at least. So as it sits today, 9 games into the season, Tim Stutzle leads the way with 14 points. Tkachuk has 13, Batherson has 12, and Giroux has 11. How many of those three or four, sorry, are going to finish the season over a point per game? So we'll go player by player. Do you think Stutzel finishes at over a point per game?
Yeah, totally. His shooting percentage right now is crazy high. He's shooting at a 31.3%. And just to put that in perspective, the leader last season was Sam Reinhart with a 24.5, which is already like really high. You'd expect guys to be at around like a 15 to 18 for like a really good goal scorer. Um, Timmy is double that. So he's getting a little bit of some lucky bounces. Things are going right for him. It's I don't think that's well, I know that's not sustainable. Um, but I fully have confidence that he's going to hit at least 82 points this season. He's going to bounce back from his rough season last year, and like it wasn't bad. It was just comparatively not what you'd want from a player of that caliber. Um, and I wouldn't be surprised if he hit either he tied his career high or beat it. I think that's well within the season, especially with a start like this.
I agree. I want to come back to a couple things you said there, but Paul, do you think Tim Stutzel's over a point per game this season?
I think so. He's got 14 points in 9 games. That's impressive. Now, can he keep that pace up for the entire season? I doubt it. But right now, that's good enough. 14 points in 9 games, 13th in the league. And you know what? Only 5 points separate Stutzle right now from Mark Stone, who's the leader. So, he's coming into the kind of offensive power that Ottawa fans believed and continue to believe that he can be.
Yeah, it's a good thing that the Senators gave up Mark Stone to end up with Yan Yannick in 2024. Really happy to see that as he's leading the league. um, so
They're never going to live it down. It's
never.
so bad.
That's an all-time bad one. All-time bad in hindsight. It wasn't good at the time, but it wasn't this bad at the time. It wasn't
True.
it was like Eric Brandstrom was at the same level as a prospect as like Lane Hutson is right now, and a lot of teams would give up a lot for Lane Hutson. So it just didn't work out for Brandstrom, and that's DJ Smith's fault. So you talked a lot about his shooting percentage, Tim Stutzle, and so he's scoring at about a 43 goal rate right now. Yes, his shooting percentage is going to come down. Do you see him cracking 40? Is that possible? His shot looks unbelievable, and he's playing with so much confidence and swagger right now. It's unreal. Um, Last year he was dealing with it was either a neck or upper back injury for most of the season, as well as a wrist injury. This year, it would take a lot to convince me that he's still dealing with that. His shot is phenomenal. Do you think that he finishes with? I'll put the line at 40 goals.
Yeah, I think 40 goals is well within his possibility. His best season so far, 22-23, he had 39, and he was shooting at a 17.1%. Last season, he dropped to 9.4. So it was, like I said, it was a bad season for him. Only had 18 goals, 70 points. It's not bad. That's his second highest total in the NHL, but not not what we'd expect from Tim. And even though the 31% is not going to stay, like you said, his shot is already looking really dangerous. I think 40 is definitely a possibility.
Paul, do you think he's going to hit 40?
I think he could. So, what was his best year? 90 points.
90 points, 39 goals. Yeah.
All right. So 40 goals and 50 assists. Possible,
Yeah.
but, assuming he stays healthy and the team doesn't falter. I mean, a lot of what he's doing is because, his teammates, they're firing on all cylinders as well, right? And when you've got that many players playing that well, you can't help if you're a guy like Stutzle, but look good. I mean, you've got Tkachuk, Stutzle, Batherson, Giroux, Norris, all those players that should be firing on all cylinders for a change this year, they are. So, that's got to make Stitzel look good.
So, last thing on Tim Stutzle, Laleem's Martian on Twitter said that he thinks that Tim Stutzle is going to be the highest scoring German player in the NHL this season.
Mm.
Right now, Leon Draisaitl is playing in his 11th game and is at 12 points with a period to go in his 11th game. So, sitting at 12 points in 11 games, while Stutzle has 14 in 9 games. Which German star is going to finish the NHL season with more points?
That's
I'll
a
go
tough one. Go ahead, Paul.
I'll go out on a limb and say Tim will. It's his time.
It's his time.
Well, and you know what? The Oilers, they are struggling now. They look awful.
Yeah.
So, I don't know that I know everybody thought, well, this year they'll win the cup like they should have last year. I don't know, man. And McDavid's hurt. I mean, how much of Draisaitl's production depends on McDavid? I don't know. Oh, nobody knows, but it sure looks like he could be out for a while.
Yeah. Dayton, you got an answer?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna still go with Draisaitl, um, for the simple fact that we expect Timmy's shooting percentage to drop, and I think 90 points is still within, that's totally reasonable. That's, almost, I think, expected at this point. 80 to 90 points should be what he's hitting.
Yeah.
Draisaitl is still on the Oilers. The Oilers are still a dangerous team. Yes, they suck right now. McDavid being hurt does not help that, but they're still the Oilers, and they're going to be dangerous this year. I think it's just going to take a little bit extra time to figure it out after maybe a bit of a demoralizing loss in Game 7 last year. They fought so hard to get back to that spot after being down, and then Florida just took it away. And that's I can imagine that be like really tough to come back from. They will, but it's taking a little longer than a lot of people expected.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Leon Draisaitl's production, he's only hit 105 points or more in 6 of the last 7 seasons. I don't know. That's something I could see Tim Stutzle catching up to. Now, you're right. Draisaitl is just more proven, and actually, he would have hit it in 105 points in 7 of the last 7 seasons if one of them wasn't 56 games where he scored 84 points. Um, so
Yeah.
it's which I think that's on pace for like 125 points. So um, I think that it's still going to be Draisaitl. I think it's going to be close this season. And my rebuttal to what Martian said on Twitter was, I think it's going to be close, but I think this next like 15 game stretch without Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl is going to take it to a whole new step. Somebody did respond to me and say that McDavid has factored in on 7 of 10 of Draisaitl's first points, which is a fair point. But I don't know. I think Leon Draisaitl is going to take another step while McDavid's out and really put the Oilers on his shoulders.
He's
So
done it in the past, so
he's done it in the past. So I go Draisaitl for that for now.
I want all of this recorded, and we're going to review the predictions in a year-end show.
We
And
will. I'll set a reminder right now.
we'll
For
have we'll have towels out and wipe the egg off our face.
so sometime in April we'll come back to this.
well, I mean, two of
Um,
us might, but
yeah, yeah, yeah. Paul, you're gonna be sitting there with your clackers and celebrating over there.
Uh,
um, let's move on to Jake Sanderson. He has been phenomenal to start the season. He's got 8 points in 9 games. I don't know if you've seen, but on Twitter, people have been saying that Lane Hutson is better than Jake Sanderson, based on all of these relative Corsi stats and relative Fenwick stats and all these relative things that sound completely made up and have nothing to do with the actual on ice production and performances. So, two questions. One, are you going to take Lane Hutson over Jake Sanderson? And
right now,
two,
no.
right now, absolutely. And
Sorry,
two,
cut you off.
how is Jake Sanderson's season going? Like, how do you see the next 73 games going for him? Start with you on this one, Paul.
Well, he's a almost a point per game, right? And he's got the confidence of the coaching staff. If I look at his average time on the ice, it's more than anyone else in the D core, including Shabbat. Um, he's now at a -4, still respectable, but that's down from it's down from when we recorded our last show a week ago. So, and I don't know, can you remind me where he is? He was second in goal scoring among defensemen a week ago. I don't know where he is now.
I can look that up here.
So I don't
He
know if he's fallen off that or not. Makar was number one, but
he's tied for 13th right now. So,
okay. So
he's still quite up there. And I mean, there's only a 4 point gap between him and second. So,
yeah. So I don't know. The question was, I think we dealt with last week. Is he a Norris Trophy contender? Uh, TBD, to be determined in my books.
yeah, I
So
think so. And you look at the guys ahead of him in terms of point scoring. I don't think Rasmus Anderson is going to keep up this level of point production. Philip Broberg isn't. Neil Pionk definitely is not. Um, I'd love to see Brant Clark keep it up. He's at 11 points in 10 games, or 11 games, sorry. I'd love to see him keep that up, but I don't expect it. So, Sanderson realistically could keep up the 70 point pace and probably finish top 5 in scoring. So, Yeah, it'll be interesting. And he's got a defensive level that not many players ahead of him in scoring have.
Yeah, he's fun to watch. I'll tell you, when he gets that puck, you're riveted to TV. You don't. He's a playmaker.
Yeah. Dayton, do you have any thoughts on Sanderson so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's kind of stepping into what he was advertised to be when he was taken fifth overall. Um, Sorry to cut you off there earlier. I thought you were only going to
No,
ask one at a
that's
time.
good.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think there are still some, if not, there is like some minor concerns, I think, that people have been, rightfully pointing out that Lane Hutson is doing better. But when you look at the on ice product, Sanderson is the better defenseman. Like there's no comparison. Um, Sanderson does have maybe a bit of a higher expected goals against, but he's right in line with a lot of the better defensemen right now. Moritz Seider is the same as him. Charlie McAvoy is the same. Matthias Ekholm, they're all about the same expected goals against right now at this point in the season. I'm okay to have a defenseman like that on the Senators. And we all knew that he was going to be a fantastic defensive guy. He's showing that offensive side that wasn't really ever advertised. It was present, but not to this level, like a point per game defenseman. Um, and he has been, one of the best defensemen, like almost bar none, on the Senators this season.
Oh, without a doubt.
Even like looking at all the advanced stats, right?
Yeah.
He's standing ahead of pretty much everyone else except in like a couple of categories. So yeah, he is the guy, and that's what he was supposed to be, and he is there now.
And I think the only stat that Lane Hutson leaves in that Lane Hutson leads in that actually matters is head fakes per 60. So that's the only one I can think of. Well, there is so Lane Hutson has more 5-on-5 assists per 60.
Okay.
Does that matter? Does 5-on-5 assists, like, do you put more value into even strength points than power play points? Because Jake Sanderson, I mean, he's dominating the first power play unit. He stole that from Thomas Chabot, who has been this organization's pride and joy since the the team imploded. Um, do you see more value in even strength points than power play points, or are they all just points and contributions to offense?
Um, you might have to rephrase that one again.
Are even strength points just as valuable as power play points?
Well, yeah, totally. Like you score, you like that makes you win games. And it's easier to score when you're on the power play, allegedly. Not always, but in theory, that's how it works. And yeah, he's definitely taken it over from Thomas Chabot. He's playing more minutes 5-on-5 than Thomas Chabot. He's allowing fewer goals. He's not scoring more goals. He has a goals for per 60 of a 1.8 at the moment. But his goals against in a even strength, not taking into account all of the other stuff, is at a quite impressive 3.2. So he's doing everything that you need him to do. There's like, I don't know. It's no notes for me, really.
All right, Paul. A couple of the depth guys on Ottawa are really starting to shine. We already mentioned Adam Gaudette a little bit. Zach Ostapchuk's been playing pretty well. Tyler Klevin's had some hit and miss games. Who's been a big standout to you among we'll say either bottom pair or bottom six players?
You know what? In my pleasant surprises column, I put Adam Gaudette. And, I thought about that, and why should that be a surprise? Because this guy led the AHL in scoring, and, he's got 4 goals and 5 points in 8 games. I asked myself, why should I be surprised? I mean, what did I expect? He's a AHL leader, so he's definitely impressed. Nick Jensen, +6. That's the best on his plus minus. That's the best in the Ottawa Defense Corps. And he's got 5 points, tied with Shabbat for points production among number two in points production and in the Ottawa Defense Corps. Sanderson, we talked about him, impressed. Another guy, Klevin, for a rookie, he's holding his own. Now he's only got 1 point, but he's got a +3, plus minus, and I think I may get shot for this, but the boat anchor around Klevin has been Travis Hamonic. He's been god awful, and I wonder if he was with a better defense pairing, whether he'd shine. So
Yeah, the Senators are in a tough situation right there because Klevin's not playing good. Bernard Docker is fine. I'd rather see him as a seventh defenseman. But with Artem Zub out, he's skating on his own now. He's still not skating with the team after what was supposed to be. He was supposed to be out for a week. Now been like 2.5 weeks and 6 games later, and he's still not playing. I don't know what to do. I mean, like you can't go long term with Hamonic and Bernard Docker on the same defense unit. And especially with Klevin, who's so inexperienced. Like, yeah, you can have one of them in there playing with like Jake Sanderson, who's gonna make anybody look fine. But I don't know. It's a tough situation for Travis Green and Steve Stais, to be honest. I think the Senators, even with Zub in the lineup, need to get another guy that is at the Zub and the Jensen level of play. Having three guys like that, like $3-4 million defensemen on your right side, is something that is pretty fair to expect, and like certainly attainable. So I wonder if they do look to add just somebody that can kind of anchor that side. I mean, it's not easy to find a
no,
right-handed defenseman worth $4 million, but
Well, didn't
I
one
wonder if
just
they
get
look for
traded?
it. Who, Timothy Liljegren?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, not that one.
No?
No, that would be, and I will say I'm pretty high on Liljegren. I think he's going to do really good in San Jose, but bringing him in would be like bringing Eric Brandstrom back for Ottawa. He's not a third line or not a third pair guy, and Ottawa needs a third pair guy.
Yeah, fair.
I mean, you could put him on the first pair with Jake Sanderson, and I could see that working pretty well. And put Zuber Jensen on the third pair with Travis Hamonic or Tyler Klevin. That could have worked, but I don't know. He doesn't fit the mold. They need another Zub and Jensen kind of guy. Like Zub and Jensen are quite similar players, and they need just one more of those guys, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I think that would probably solve a lot of problems. They have admittedly a pretty weak pair right now. Like you mentioned, Hamonic has not been like he keeps regressing. But he's unmovable unless you want to buy him out, and I don't think you can do that to a guy with the reputation that he has. He's a good locker room presence, and you don't want to screw over those kind of guys. Because that ends up hurting the whole team because everyone sees that, right? I think the only way you can get away with it is if you're Vegas. They seem to
Pretty
be able to
well.
do whatever they want, and it works out okay
Yeah.
somehow. Yeah, I don't think Clevin's had the support he's needed to have a promising rookie campaign. I think he's been a little bit disappointing. JBD has been fine. He's a solid possession defensive guy, but I think I agree. Right now, he's a seventh defenseman, and he's playing more than that right now.
See, you got me thinking, and when you mentioned Timothy Liljegren, there's one guy on San Jose that I would not mind seeing play on that third pair right-handed defenseman role. And I bet you a lot of people are going to hate this. Then there would have to be salary retention, but it's Cody Ceci. I
Oh,
wouldn't hate seeing him come back to be a mentor for Tyler Klevin on that third pair.
As a third pairing guy, yeah, that's not a terrible option.
No, I mean he makes $4.5 million. That were deemed to be well, and San Jose can't retain because they have money retained on Carlson, Burns, and Hurdle, so they can't retain. I don't know if they can figure out a way to get Cody Ceci for. I think he only has 1 year left at 2.25, or if they could get him at 2.25 million, I wouldn't be upset with that.
At another team who can retain,
Yeah,
pretty good option. Hamonic would have to be going the other way, right?
or
Mm.
Jacob Bernard Docker because Hamonic has the no move clause. I don't think he's waiving to go to San Jose.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
He
so
literally is unmovable. Oh my
he's
goodness.
unmovable because you can't send him to the AHL because he has the no move clause. You can't trade him. The only option is either he waives it or you buy him out, which they didn't buy him out. So, but he only has 1 year left. So this year left.
Yeah.
Who signed this deal again? I mean,
Yeah, Pierre Dorian.
Yeah. Who else?
After Hamonic was, I don't know if you saw this either, but when when Pierre Dorian called Vancouver to get Hamonic, the asking price was a fourth round pick, and Ottawa didn't have a fourth round pick that year, so Dorian just said, "Here, I'll give you a third instead," and that's how the deal went down. I don't have a fourth, so I'll give you a third, and then he signed him to 2 years, 1.1 million, with a full no move clause. Do you know how many NBA players have a no move clause in the entire NBA? How many players have a no move clause?
Is there any?
There's more than zero.
There's okay.
I'm
I
just
take
looking it up to double check. I'm pretty sure it's three. And
yeah.
then in the NHL, Travis Hamonic has a no move clause,
Well, to be fair, you can make six digits in the NBA.
but not get a no move clause. LeBron James does not have a no move clause.
I think if you pay him enough, you don't need it, right?
Fair. I feel like that's part of why Travis Hamonic is getting paid 1.1 million though.
So do you
It
guys put any stock into him being really tight, a favorite of Travis Green? Because Green coached him when he was in Vancouver. I mean, is he untouchable?
No, I don't think so. And I mean, Nolan Baumgartner also worked with Vancouver there and had Travis Hamonic. So like there could be something there. They could like him, but I think it's pretty clear that he shouldn't be in the top four, and everybody understands that. They might pick him over Jacob Bernard Docker, which honestly you could convince me is the right move. Both of them are not excellent and could be fine on the third pair in the right position, but um, no, I don't. I don't see there being too much of a bias there, and I can almost assure you he won't be back next year.
No, he's just killing me. I mean, he's -4, 0 points. Turnovers are god awful. That game in Colorado, Giroux, I think, tied up the game, and then Hamonic turned it over in the D zone, Colorado capitalized on it and took all the momentum out of the game. That's a game probably that they should have won, but him and Jensen, two terrible plays in the D zone.
Yeah,
Puck.
I will say
So
I love him as a third pairing guy.
yeah. I
Ham
I, I think he's, and not even just that. I think he's a great vibes guy. Like I love having him around
Totally.
at the team.
Yes, like that's a guy that you want to have on your team. He's just at the point of his career where putting him in a second line or second pairing position is generally going to result in, you know, goals against.
Yeah,
It's not going to win you games. And that I think if you have him in a more sheltered role, I think he could serve as a bit more of, a guidance, leadership type of guy. He can be one of those vibes guy. He can get, the team pumped up. He's a good player and a good dude from everything that I've read and seen. Um, it's unfortunate then that the Senators literally don't have anybody else better than him. And he has to fill in for Zub. And that's a big gap to fill in for somebody who is 34 and, like you said, he's only got 1 year. I don't know how many teams are looking for him after this. you never want somebody to lose their job, of course. But when the writing's on the wall, what else is going to happen? So,
Yeah. All right. Well, we all went on a bit of a tangent there at the end. About Travis Hamonic and the Senators' defense, but that's going to wrap things up for this week. So, thanks everybody for coming to check out this episode. And we'll see you next time. Happy Halloween.